Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on my image editor, and today's topic is trying to work towards making it actually useful. So context for this project is that we are trying to make something that replaces GIMP for my specific use cases, right? And so what I want is I want some sort of like almost scriptable editor where it kind of like uh, has like a few set of like core values, I guess we could call them. Like I want things to be non-destructive. So I want to like if once I import my images, I kind of want those images to be there and constant and non-modifiable. And anything that happens that we want to do with those things ends up as a set of actions that is like applied on top of the inputs, right? So we can imagine that if you were going to do a cut and paste, we do something where we draw a path on top of an image, and that path gets converted to a mask, and that mask is multiplied by an image, and that's how you get the output, right? And you can go back, you can edit that path, and that path will like automatically regenerate the mask that's made downstream, and that will like regenerate like the new composited images based off that, right? So we kind of have something that resembles that right now. Right. So if I have like an image here, I can like create a path. I can like cut out some section of this, and that will create a mask that will create a mask object. If we go into like the image composition of this thing, I can hopefully drag that thing around. And like if I go back into this path and I edit it to be a little bit like pointy, right? Then that kind of becomes pointy in the composition, right? Everything's kind of working. It's kind of like the idea here. We would kind of want like all actions to be performed as like maybe like shaders. So if I could fucking drag the thing I want to drag, but like okay, so we have like a color swap shader, right? Here's an input image. A shader is run on this thing to convert it to green, right? We think that we could perform many actions if we just expose the idea of like a shader that is run on an image to the user. So we're working towards that. Today's goal though is to try to make this thing usable in any way, shape, or form. So right now, all we can do is we can open a bunch of images. We automatically generate a shader that does like a color swap on these things. And then we like automatically add that to our object list. And when we like click like create path on this thing, we automatically create a path, a mask from that path, right? So if I go like this, we automatically get that mask and the mask object, and we automatically add that to the composition, which is like great for testing, right? Now we can like, we've confirmed that like we can run shaders, we've confirmed that we can like generate masks, and we can edit those masks and stuff, everything's great. But we can't actually do anything of value here, right? I guess we could if we like dragged everything that we didn't want off the edge of the screen. But if we want to like generate an image, we have like a lot of work to do. So the goal is, you might ask, why do I have a picture of Cersei Lannister, a Slurpee, and a Bannister in here? I want to work towards the ability to make a little joke for a gamer tag. Slurpee Bannister. It's Cersei Lannister holding a Slurpee sitting on a banister, right? And so we need to do like many things to do that, right? We're gonna have to cut out this like a Slurpee, right? We're gonna have to like put that in her hand over here. We're gonna have to like cut out her, and we're gonna have to like maybe like position her on the banister, right? Which means that there's a lot of stuff that we don't really do right now that we have to. One is like aspect ratio is completely unaccounted for, so we're gonna have to fix that. We're gonna have to like, as we're trying to like outline her in a way that is like not shit, we're gonna have to be able to zoom in on her, right? So if we're like trying to cut out her head, right? It's like trying to position these points right now is like very difficult because you can't really see. I would like to be able to like zoom in and like position them well, right? We're gonna want to be able to in the composition view, like take this and like size it relative to the banister so that she's like the right size. Which means we're gonna and probably we're gonna have to do some sort of rotation as well. So like transform editing in the composition view. We're gonna want to be able to do. We're gonna want to be able to like add stuff to the composition. So right now we're kind of like just default shoving everything into the composition. Really, this composition should have like a add object button that we can click, maybe like with a drop down of all the objects, which probably means also that like the naming of these things should be able to be edited, right? Like our name for this thing is new path. And so if we're trying to figure out which one of these things is like the masked object for Cersei Lannister, we're gonna have to be able to like identify those in some way. So that's gonna be part of this. In the composition view, we're going to want her sitting on top of the banister and the Slurpee on top of her. Maybe like her fingers are going to be masked off separately, something like that. But like we need to have some sort of like Z sorting in here. So like, yeah, there's lots of stuff that we're going to have to tackle. So I think what we're going to do is we have like a list of things that we've thought of, but let's just try to make something And as we go through that process, we will find obvious flaws in our current editor. So that's kind of the plan. That's the plan for today. And let's just kind of get moving. Let's get moving. So I guess we know aspect. Like, let's think about where we want to start. I have aspect ratio as the first thing. I think that's reasonable. So let's start with aspect ratio, then try to zoom in. We'll try to cut her out, and then we'll see where we go from there. I think that makes sense. So let's fix the fact that nobody is aware of aspect ratio. So the way we do things right now is we load an image from the file system. So kind of like in main, we have a list of files that are passed in on the command line. And we say, for each image in this thing, can we load this thing from the file system into a file system object? And then we push that file system object into like the list of objects that our app works with, right? So this thing has like a width and a height. So really aspect ratio is probably, we can calculate that from these. Okay. And then we like put these things into texture. We kind of have like object coordinate space right now defined as like the object is like an image and he will fully fill up a plane that we set up, right? So, and that plane is kind of defined differently depending on which context we're in. In this view, that plane just fills the screen, right? Which is probably not optimal. And then in this view, the plane is defined by like a transform that goes from the full screen into some smaller region of the screen, right? So the question is what is the best way to represent this so that we can handle both of these cases cleanly? I think it would be nice if we had like a coordinate space that was like aspect ratio corrected, right? So let's think about this. So can we keep the object space as being -1 to 1 in both axes? That has like probably nice properties associated with it. In which case, it would be, we would handle the conversion to like, how do I say this? I wonder if we can just give the window aspect ratio to our vertex shader so that he's aware of like the global aspect. And then we also pass in the aspect ratio of the thing we are rendering. And maybe then he just kind of like converts between those. We would have to think about the size, right? If we have an image, and you know, it's going to either look like this or like this, right? Depending on if the window aspect ratio is like, if the thing is like vertical or horizontal. So we're going to want to like fill the screen depending on which of these things is closer. So can we just go into like the renderer code right now? And somewhere, hold on, first of all, let's make sure we're in a good state. Okay. We did something here, that's fine. So when we render a file system image, for example, we call our renderer program, which just says use this program, bind this vertex array. Here is our transform that we are applying to this thing. And I guess we are going to scale in one direction, right? We are either going to scale in width or in scale in width or height, right? So if the initial, if the, I guess we're going to be like, if the aspect ratio of window is equal to the aspect ratio of image, there's literally nothing to do, right? So we're going to be doing something that's like window. We're going to be like window aspect probably like a multiplier So if we define aspect is equal to width over height. Okay. In this case, if our aspect, window aspect, is greater than if the window aspect is greater than the image aspect, we need to like scale height until they're the same. Is that what we're supposed to do here? So say our like window aspect is 16 by 9, right? Our image aspect is, let's just say 16 over 10, right? So we have 10 pixels of height for every 16 of width versus 9 for the window. I presume we are going to multiply the image height by like either 10 over 9 or 9 over 10. Not really sure which one. Yeah, probably it's something like that. Something like that. So let's start by calculating the window aspect. So we're going to go like window width float is equal to a F32 float from int of window width. I guess we're probably going to have some sort of like aspect calculation. Probably. So we're going to be like calc aspect width and height. Okay. And he's going to return F32. And so we'll just say width f is F32 is equal to float from int of width like this, and height f is going to be float from int of height. Return height or width f over height. Okay. Then here we're going to calc aspect with window width and window height. This will be called the window aspect. And then we pass in window aspect here or something. I don't know. Letterbox / pillar box or stretch cropped is the vocabulary, I think. That sounds right. Or do I just apply this to the transform directly here? We say the thing that we are rendering must have this transform applied to it. It kind of feels like this concept already exists, right? So I wonder if let's maybe just start there and see if we can kind of work that out. So we have the object aspect is equal to the active object dot dims. Okay. Which gets passed in the object list as part of its shit that it's got to figure out. So this would be the object dims here. How did I spell this so wrong? There we go. And this returns usize. Yeah, so we say const object aspect is calc aspect of object dim 0, object dims 1. Okay. And I assume if window aspect is greater than object aspect, what's going to happen there? So if the window aspect is greater than the object aspect, then it's going to seem like really wide compared to how it's supposed to be, which means that we have to apply the scale here. So we know that window object aspect is too big. So we're going to want to squish the object in X, right? So we're going to apply a scale that is like object aspect. We want it to be small, so we do this over window aspect. if we assume that there's some sort of like linear relationship between these things, which I think there is. Sure. Else we do the other way. So this is the in X. And otherwise, this we have to do it in Y now. So in Y, it's the other way around, right? In Y, it's like if the window aspect is too small, then we're going to appear stretched vertically, which means that we have to cut the height down. But it's still object over window? No. I think it's the other way around. I'm not 100% sure there. Well, let's just kind of see what happens now. I guess we need const transform. Do all this. And let's just kind of see what happens. Render object with transform. He doesn't take in the window aspect anymore. And do not know how to get width for composition. Oh, right. Right. So our composition doesn't necessarily have an aspect ratio. So for now, I'm going to fix this by just kind of saying, if we're in a composition, for now, I'm literally just going to return like 1,000 by 1,000 or something. I don't, we'll do a fix me here. There should be a reasonable value here, but I don't know what that is yet. So we'll just kind of use 1,000 by 1,000 for now. Okay, so now if I click here, that looks like it's working, right? Yep. Yep. Yeah, I don't think there's a problem here. I think that's kind of working. I think that's kind of working. Okay. So now we just kind of have to figure out what the fuck we want to do in the composition view. Right, so in the composition view, in the composition view, I kind of just want to return the window dimensions. I think that kind of just like makes things work out for now. Eventually, this is not going to be the case. Eventually, the composition view, eventually we're going to use, we're going to have like an actual output resolution that we're trying to render. But right now, we're just using the window size. So I think we can just kind of do that. So maybe what we do is we return an optional here. On composition, we return null. And then here we say, or else, window width, window height, like this. That seems kind of reasonable to me. And then everywhere else who was using this before is just going to be like, or else, panic, no dims. Or else like return error, no dims or something. 166 is the same thing. Or else return no error, no dims. New viewer here. This seems like a cool project. Thank you. I'm excited. It seems kind of fun to me as well. Renderer 143. He has kind of the same problem. Or else return error, no dims. Okay, so now we still probably have all the same problems. Yeah, so this is still working okay, but in the composition, it's not. But now in the composition, we can take the existing transform and apply a scale to it. So we're kind of going to want to do like the same thing. We're going to be like, we're going to want to like some sort of like transform from like display dims or something. So we're trying to like display some object. We're trying to display like some object in some other object, right? That's kind of like the kicker here. So we'll say like inner has some sort of like, you know, like this. And we're basically just going to do the same thing here that we did before. But the window is now outer. Anything that says window is outer. So here we just say s window outer, and then s object inner, and then this is outer w outer h, and then this is inner w inner h. Okay, and then we just return this, which means that we don't have to do this weird like we can put these things in curly braces, which kind of feels okay now. And then we return here. Okay. Which means that here we can be like transform is transform from display dim. So we have the inner thing, which is the object dims 0, object dims 1, window width and window height. Okay. Let's start there. Okay, we'll start there and just make sure that everything still works. And then, I don't think that's right. She looks fat, too wide. What do we do? Oh, we did forget to set the fucking correct height there. Okay, that looks better for sure. Yeah, okay. Chillin'. Okay, so now if we have like a composition, we have some like input thing, and we're gonna try to like be like transform from display dims. So now we have like the inner object, right? So it's like next object dims given the object list. And now we have the inner thing as next object dims 0 relative to the outer thing. So I guess we can assume that the existing thing already exists, right? So we can kind of just say it's like 1-to-1 almost. So yeah, the outer thing is like already accounted for. We're just kind of doubling up. We're kind of getting. Is that true? No, because if like if the composition is we have a window, okay? Then say we have like a composition inside the window, and we have like a thing in that. So we are already rendering the composition kind of squished in, right? As it should be. And then we're trying to like stack something on top of that. But we still need to be relative to this aspect ratio. So we need to look at this. So yeah, we need to look at my aspect ratio relative to my parent. But we previously said that a composition has a aspect ratio of null, which makes this a little confusing. Right, so we're like using the window width at the top level. I guess for now we'll pass the window aspect in. Yeah, I don't really see a way around that right now. It's not really ideal, but for now we'll just do this. That's fine. Ugh. So I guess now this makes more sense as inner aspect, outer aspect. Okay. Which means that this is going to be like calc aspect inner w inner blah, 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 blah. It's going to be like this. Yeah. This feels a little better. Okay. And then we're going to actually take this out. We're going to say const window aspect is equal to this. Uh-huh. Okay. Which means that now we can pass the window aspect here. Which isn't great, but it's fine. Then we can go here and go like this. Calc aspect like this. Boom, 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 boom. And window aspect here. And then in the future, like our composition view will have its own aspect ratio, but for now it doesn't. So we just use the window and we'll say fix me composition resolution or something. It's fine. It's fine. How fucked is this now? Outer aspect like this. I spelled it wrong. And then what's going on here? Objects plural, I guess. That's true. And then calc aspect next object dims. Oh, or else return error no dims. I think that we need them at this point. And Boolean transform ignored. True. Aspect transform. Do this, and then we need to like we need to like stick these transforms together, right? So we kind of have our composition object. Let me think about this. So the way that we've structured this is that like our image within a composition has like a position, scale, rotation. And that position, scale, and rotation, what are we like saying that they are relative to if we apply this aspect ratio here? We're kind of saying that they're like taking the aspect adjusted object and saying, here is that thing's transform, which I think is fair. You could bake the aspect ratio into the transform of the object, but it means that every time the window resizes or every time you change the composition aspect, the composition resolution and stuff, you'd have to like recalculate the object transform, which I don't think I really want. So I guess we just say, as long as the aspect ratio is performed first, everything else just kind of works. I think that's okay. So I think we want to do like, take the existing transform and just like multiply it with the aspect transform, which does not exist yet. This does not exist yet. So we need to, oopsies, composition.transform here. So we need a way to multiply these things together. We have mul, but we don't have matmul. Okay. So this is going to return yet another transform. And how does this work? What am I fucking typing Wikipedia into Google for? What the fuck am I doing? Matrix multiplication. It's like you multiply the row by the column. Here's the picture I'm looking for. So the thing in the top left, I guess we're iterating the output. So this is going to be a 9-element matrix for a 3x3. We are going to iterate over each position in the output, right? The row is going to be, if we're going row column, I over 3, And the call is I%3, right? And then we kind of go for 0 to 3 inside this. And we have to look at the row of the thing on the left times the column of the thing on the right. Right? So we're going to go like, I guess we'll call this A and B. I think that's easier. We're going to look at A data at column. We're going to iterate over the column. So we're going to look at the A row is going to be A data from row times 3 to row plus 1 times 3, right? B call is going to be, it's a new thing. There's no thing in memory that looks like this right now. And he is going to be like, the first element is the row times 3 plus call. Yeah. So it's call, 3 plus call, and 6 plus call. But these need to be indexes in this. So we use like a B data at this, B data at this, and B data at this. Okay? And then I guess the ret at this index is going to be A row 0 times B call 0. Yup. Plus 1 plus 2. I'm sure there is some way to like represent this better, but this feels reasonable to me. Yeah, I think that's right. So 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this comes from... so this is row is 0. We get 0 to 3. If row is 1, we get 3 to 6. Yeah, it feels kind of right. Feels kind of right. So it seems like we should be able to go... This should work now. Maybe. It'd be cool if it did. Fuck! Fuck! Fine, we'll fucking return a value. Fucking whiny bitch. Render object with transform is mad about something. Probably he is supposed to pass on the window aspect. Um, 167. So here we're rendering an object to a texture. And so I guess the aspect of like the window in this case is actually the aspect ratio of the thing we are rendering. So it's literally like depth, width, and depth height here. I think. I suspect. I could be wrong. Let's just see how fucked up. Okay. Wait a second. That's interesting. So the transform is like relative to the window, which is kind of fucked up. But I guess that's because like the composition size is changing as we change the size of the window. And that's kind of fucked up. Right? In reality, the composition size should stay fixed and we should just be cropping depending on like the window. You know? You know? So maybe we just fix the composition to like 1 by 1 for now or something. And that just might kind of fix shit. No. Because it means that we also need to apply some sort of transform to the composition as well. Fuck. Let's think. Yeah, that's really interesting. I guess we just give the composition a resolution, and that kind of fixes everything, probably. So for now, let's just return a hard-coded 1920 by 1080 for now. Customize composition size. Okay. Now there is no null here, which means all of these or else's. Let's kind of leave the support for the or else there, just in case. Just in case we want to bring it back. But now I think that we should see something reasonable. So like now if we kind of like, no. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? Oh. No? Can we... I'm a little confused, I'm not gonna lie. Not going to lie. Composition object. Oh, we're supposed to apply also the input transform, I guess, right? Here we're kind of losing the input transform. So the next transform is we apply the window transform last, I think? Right, so there's like this thing, we position it like inside the composition, and then we position the composition inside the window. I think that makes sense. Clearly not. Womp womp plum 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 plum. Interesting. I mean, the only other way that makes sense here is matmul transform like this. But that doesn't seem reasonable to me. Feels like it's on the wrong side. Yeah, that also doesn't help. It feels like it belongs on the left. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it really feels like this should go here. But then that means that, like... I wonder if this needs to be 1.0 for some reason. No, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense. If that works... Oh, wait, okay. So we've gotten somewhere now. I mean, the aspect ratio of the thing is wrong, but at least it is staying consistent, right? Maybe we should clear the screen. Can we clear the segment of the screen where the composition is being rendered or something? To try to, like, visualize what the fuck is going on here? Because something isn't, like, behaving the way I want it to. Oh. Is this using the right thing? No. This is the thing that we're rendering into. So this should be transform. This should be the composition aspect. Okay. So we're like rendering into a thing that has this aspect, composition aspect. And this will be like render target aspect. Okay. And then maybe that kind of makes sense. Because then the transform already takes into account the composition to window. Yeah, that's what I wanted, right? So now what's happening is we have like a 16 by 9 thing. This is about the full screen. And now as I move things around within that, they are staying positioned kind of correctly relative to each other. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Okay. So I think the next thing that we need to do here is we need some sort of like background checkerboard, right? Like we need some way to identify in here what is part of the image and what is not, because I can't fucking dealio, you know? You know? Yeah, okay. So how do we do that? I guess we render. Okay, first of all, get add-u, get commit-m, aspect ratio. We need some way to bump. I guess this kind of goes away. We kind of fix that. So we want to render like a thing that fills up the entire viewport. And I guess we are going to like render that with some fragment shader. Yeah, so we're gonna have some sort of like plain render program, and we're gonna call this like a background program. And this is not go. This is going to be some sort of new fragment shader. We're going to call this like checkerboard, right? And he is not going to sample from any textures. Fuck that shit. But he is going to use the UV coordinates. And I guess he's just going to be like, okay, so we want what? Say we were only doing like half. We were literally just doing this. Right? What is the formula here? The formula is if we're doing like x plus y or something, right? So this is like x0, x1, y0, y1. And if we have like x plus y mod 2 is equal to 0, that's how we determine. Does that continue working if we kind of like extend this onwards? So say we have like a 3x3. So this is 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So we have x plus y here. So we go, let's color this in so that we can like think about it. So this is 2, 0. That's 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. Yes, this is 0. This has a value of 1, 1. This is a value of 2. This is, fuck, can we draw it in red or something? 1, 1, 0, 2, 2, 2. And then I presume that this is 3, 3, 4. Yeah, I think that works. So then, now we are not working in like individual pixels to draw this checkerboard, right? We are working in like squares. So we're gonna have like a checkerboard size, and these are gonna be floating points, right? So we're gonna have to convert this now to like, this is like a continuous range of 0 to 1, and this is a continuous range of 0 to 1, right? And presumably the same concept exists here, where we have some range of values where this is true or false, right? This is kind of like we still have like multiples of 2 are probably still relevant in here. So we probably are still going to do some sort of like uv.x plus uv.y, right? And does like GLSL have like fmod? Is that like a thing? Mod. Compute one value modulo another. So we pass in the type here. Is there an example? Mod f. Separate a value into its integer and fractional components. Oh, I see. So we have like, this is like an input of like either vec2, vec3 float, and this is the mod output. Okay, I see. So like we do mod uv.x plus uv.y 2. right? So this will give us a value between 0 and 2, right? And then we can do like if val is greater than 1.0, we do one color, right? Otherwise, we do the other color. And I guess you could kind of like fold this into a ternary. So we can say like vec for, I guess we say fragment is equal to val greater than 1.0 or less than 1.0. Question mark. And then we'll do like, can we do black and white initially? Because I don't really know what colors look good. And then we'll tone it down after. Okay, so now we have a checkerboard fragment shader with no inputs. And then kind of at the top of the render loop, render object with transform. Is this kind of like the top? Is this kind of like our top level thing? I guess we don't want the checkerboard to be rendered unless we're kind of displaying to the window. So I think we do it here. So we render this with like no textures and our transform. Maybe. I'm not like, you know, I'm not against it. What do you guys think? I'm like 20%. 20. Fuck. We forgot to take into account the size, and also there seems to be some sort of like diagonal shit going on here. So it's almost like we want to like quantize this shit. Yeah, I don't really know what I expected here, to be honest. Okay. So why is this? It's because we need quantized values. So maybe we do this as integer math. At least my 20% guess was more likely to be right than wrong. So I wonder if we do like float big UV is equal to UV times 100. And then can we convert this into like a like IVEC2? So like automatically truncate. And then we can do uv.x plus uv.y %2. Right? And then we call this a bool. When we say like is dark, if is dark, we do this. Let's try that. Fuck! Is dark use uninitialized? What the fuck are you talking about? Bitch? Oh. Big UV. Fuck! Initializer of type vec2 cannot be assigned a variable of ivec2 at line 7. Do we have to like cast this? How do you like cast like glsl vec2 ivec? How do we like cast this shit? God damn it. Float chain cast. Do I have to do it element wise? GLSL cast float to integer. Oh, he uses constructor style cast. So you think I can like? Are you saying I can do this? That'd be kind of cool. Fuck. Oh, because now we have to say equals 0 here on this stuff. Okay. So, I mean, it kind of worked, right? That is what I asked for. But in hindsight, what I asked for is fucking stupid because we want these things to be square, right? So it's almost like we need to like unadjust for the aspect ratio, right? Right? So then we go like, so if it's width over height, hold on. My poor stupid dumb little brain. Aspect equals width over height. If we have we have like really wide thing, right? This means A is really big. A big one, right? So if that is true, then our UV coordinates for height need to become smaller. So we divide the y by the aspect. Uh 100 divided by aspect. Right? Um sure. Sure. Then what? That means that we need to pass the aspect ratio into this thing somehow, which means that like our plain render program, I guess we can just say has an aspect location. And maybe we just say we always feed that motherfucker in. Maybe that just like literally lives in the vertex shader. Can we use the same uniform in both? Can you be like uniform in both vertex and fragment shader? Is that allowed? I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but I mean that's like a maybe. Because then we can kind of just say like aspect location. I guess we can just allow this thing to fail as well. And then we kind of like stash that shit. Maybe this would be simpler if it was based off frag chord instead of UV. Yeah, I guess so, right? Because then it would scale with pixel size as well, which is kind of nice. Although maybe you want the checkerboard to look bigger as you zoom in. I'm not sure. Not sure. I'm not really convinced either way. This thing takes in just a value. Which kind of means like callers of this thing need to pass in an aspect ratio somewhere. So this is going to be the aspect ratio of the image, question mark? Seems kind of reasonable. Yeah, I guess, huh? I imagine you pass the size of squares to the shader. Yeah, that's not crazy. It's definitely not crazy. But we're committed. Oh, do I have object dims already? Oh, I don't. I'm just fucking stupid. Bum 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 bum. Dims object dims of objects. Calc aspect of object dims 0, object dims object dims 0 and object dims 1, or else return error no dims. Okay, this guy probably needs the same shit. So we are rendering that's the path program, so he doesn't have that anymore, but this guy does. So I guess here we have like calc aspect of f width and f height. I think that already exists. Yeah, we're chilling there, and then everybody else is chilling, I guess. 60. Right. This is where we started. 119 is mad because here we need to pass in the object dimensions of the thing we are rendering, I guess. So we're just going to do the same thing here. I don't know, man. We'll figure it out as we go. Okay, so that's a checkerboard for sure. For sure. And now let's kind of like dial it back. So what happens if like we open GIMP, new thing? What does like its checkerboard look like? It's kind of like gray and light gray, like just different shades of gray, right? So can we like, no, it's not that smart. I guess we have to screenshot this, paste it, then sample this. Okay. So this is like 9s and 6s. So 6 out of F is 4. Or I guess it's, yeah, yes. I guess we want more like hex. I guess we just want dudes in hex. We're gonna like 66 out of FF, 0. Fuck you. I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll just do like 0.4 and 0.6. Fuck it. Fuck it. You know, we don't have to get too fancy with it. We don't have to get too fancy with it. I'm like fine with that. I'm fine with that. I like that these things just get like spit off the side. Like the checkerboard like literally doesn't matter. It's like here's a suggestion. Fuck it. All right. Fuck it. Checkerboard. All right. What's next? What's next? So, if we were to start trying to make Slurpee Banister, I think that the first priority before we do anything would be like literally like being able to pick what objects are part of the composition, right? So let's start there by kind of deleting this concept of a default composition. So we'll call this like composition editing, right? Because yeah, it's like literally the first thing we have to do. I mean, you could argue that we should start. We could also start here on like path generation, right? We could start here. In which case, I would want to do viewport zooming first, and maybe viewport zooming kind of fits better with what we've been working on so far. Right, the viewport editing kind of feels like it's more like transform stuff, which we've kind of been doing. So let's do that next. I think that actually makes sense. So I guess we will start with like zooming in. Let's say that we can like pan with middle click and zoom with the scroll wheel. It means that somewhere GLFW has to tell us where the scroll wheel comes from, which I don't really know how that works. Scroll. This comes from set scroll callback. Set callback, which we don't have. Okay, so let's start there. Okay, so we're gonna have some sort of scroll callback GLFW, and that's gonna, you know, be one of these. Okay, so we have some like scroll callback GLW. He takes in a window and a I don't know what these are. These are probably like X and Y, probably. Probably. We are going to have some sort of like abstraction of our GLW thing that comes from here. And presumably we are going to like push this into a list of window actions, right? So we're going to be like scroll in, scroll, and maybe we pass in the value that we scrolled by, right? This guy comes in, he's like, exclamation mark commands, exclamation help, nothing shows up. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't written the bot yet. We've only been streaming for over a year, okay? So like, cut me some slack. We've only done this like every day for like a year and a little bit. So like, why would you expect that we are like competent in any way, shape, or form? Okay, so I guess we're just gonna like be like, I think we just try to write an item to our queue of shit that we are gonna process later, and we literally just write scroll, and we just take the float, like a float cast of the y scroll, I guess, and failed to write scroll. Couple more years. Yeah, I mean, it's on the list. Surely one day we'll get to it, right? Okay. So now if we see some sort of scroll action, I guess we just say app scroll by the mount. And who knows what this is gonna do? I guess we're gonna have some sort of like zoom level. That's probably dependent on like which object we're looking at. Probably the scroll resets every time we change the selected object, right? Maybe for now it doesn't because we're lazy pieces of shit. I think eventually, like, we're going to have to deal with this at some point, but for now we'll just do this. For now we'll do this. Fix me reset on object selection. I think that will become a little bit more apparent as we start getting into like more advanced input handling. I think that it'll kind of come for free when we implement that. So shouldn't it zoom in on the mouse cursor at all times? That is definitely an option. But we are not going to do that right now. Even though it's better. I think you're right. We are trying not to do the most advanced thing, but we are trying to bang out things so that we can do anything at all, right? We're trying to, what is called minimum viable product. I sound like a business person. But you know what I mean. We're trying to make progress. Not, we can always fix it later. Code is malleable as fuck. So amount times like scalar. I think that we might want to do some sort of times equals. When we've done this before, it's been pretty clear that it feels bad when you're trying to go to 2 to 4, and it feels a lot different. But we'll start here, and I think that what I've done before is like some sort of like exponential curve. We want to do like self zoom level. I guess we want to do like, we want to convert the amount to a multiplier. So the amount is going to be from like negative something. We're going to have like amount is probably in the range of like negative n to n, right? Probably. I guess we should verify that first. Let's just start by verifying that. Like this. We'll fix it later, like we'll make the bot later. Perfect. He gets it. This guy gets it. Okay, so we're going like negative some amount to positive some amount, right? It's kind of hand wavy. So we want to map like negative inf should go to 0-ish, right? 0 should go to 1, and inf should go to inf. These are kind of like the thing, that way we can do like self zoom level times equals this like output thing, right? So what kind of looks like that? Wolfram Alpha. pow 2 to the x. Like, yeah, fuck it. Sure. Stood math pow 2 mount. And then we'll just adjust the scalar. Fine. You want a fucking F32? I'll give you a fucking F32, bitch. And then can we log the zoom level? Self zoom level. Okay. Bum 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 bum. That's way too fast. Is this the same shape for like literally anything? If I do like a 0.5 or is it fucked up under 1? Yeah, it's fucked up under 1. So we want to do like 1.2 or something. Like we just want to like reduce the fucking slopey lopey. I don't know. That feels kind of good to me, just looking at the numbers. I mean, we'll have to try, but the speed from where it's going from like 1x to like 10x feels pretty good, kind of hand wavy, but we'll see. We'll see. So this zoom level has to go somewhere. With POW, it's going to grow exponentially. That's what I want, right? Because I kind of want the distance from like 2 to 4 to feel like the distance from 1 to 2, right? I kind of want like, I want the zoom speed to increase the farther in I zoom in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think that's right. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Who fucking cares? This might be fucking stupid, but okay, so on render, I guess we're gonna take in like the zoom level. And I guess we're gonna like apply that to our transform. I think it doesn't matter if we apply aspect or zoom first. They're kind of like, they're the same. So here we're just gonna apply like zoom level and zoom level. I'm pretty sure it's the times equals to give the exponential behavior. The POW is like literally one of 2 values. That's true. That's true. Although I think that's still relevant in some way. I think that like when I was just I could be wrong about like what that formula should be, but it kind of feels right to map like negative number to big number, positive number to like, I don't know, it kind of feels right, but who knows? I'm not good at math. All right. That feels fine to me. That feels pretty good. And then it works here too, right? Yeah, nice. Nice. Okay, so now we need some sort of pan. Oh, I don't like that it is zooming in on her boob. That's not great, but not my fault they put it in the center of the image. Okay, so I guess next up is on like movement. We have to kind of, I guess we want to go like middle mouse down or something. So we have left and right buttons. There's also middle. Okay. So I guess we just do some mappings. Middle. Middle down. Middle up. Middle down. Middle up. Mouse middle. Oops. this should still guard on if we clicked on UI elements. That should be different. And set middle down and set middle up. Okay. So I don't know, man. What are we gonna do here? Mouse middle. So we're gonna have some sort of like pan, I guess. Right, so we have like viewport center. Then we have vec2, whose default value is like 0, 0 in like window space, I guess, or in clip space. Then when we drag, we have like the mouse movement in clip space as well. That's like, that exists here, right? So I guess we just need to keep track of like pan start, right? Hand wavy. And then, so when we set middle down, we just say self pan start is equal to self mouse pause. And then on up, we said it's back to null. And then we just have like on mouse move, we handle like if we have some pan start, we just be like new pause minus pan start. I guess we have to reset the pan start every time the mouse moves, I think. I guess we just kind of, actually, we don't do this. We just say panning. Sure. I think that's right. Because then here we'll say like if self panning, we have some amount of mouse movement, right? New pause minus self mouse pause. And this needs to be like times the zoom level, I think. And we just say like self viewport center plus equals this. Is this a vec2? This is a vec2. This is a vec2. Zoom level is not a vec2, so we probably have to like splat this shit. I think it's like this. I think it's probably fine. So now I zoom in. Nothing's changing because we're not actually rendering anything related to this thing. Okay. Viewport center is an F32. So that kind of feels like it belongs first before scale. So like we get the scale, we get the we don't have a translation, but we should translate. That is 0.0 here, and then the translation goes in here. Boom. Okay. So if we are translating, we translate from viewport, we're translating viewport center.x, viewport center.y. That might be backwards. We might have to invert these. I'm not really sure. Then we apply the scale. So this, we're going right to left. And then we say like aspect transform. So we go translation, scale, aspect. Other way. I think it's the other way. We're going translation first, then scale, then aspect. Sure. I guess aspect could be done like at anywhere, but I'm not really sure. What's he fucking bitching about? Oh, this should be a vec2, by the way. Okay. Did I not save app? I did not, as always. That's true. This is translate is not .x.y. It's 0 and 1. Let's try that. That's not good. That's not good at all. Std debug print viewport center. That's not good at all. So if this is 0, 0, shouldn't this translation have like, oh, that would do it. That would do it. Much better. Okay, so I've got down and up flipped on GLW. Middle. Why though? Button is this down, and then we go middle down. Middle down goes to set middle up. Shut the fuck up. You know? You know? Why you gotta be like this? Okay. Interesting that it's not working correct relative to the zoom level. Kind of would have expected that to work. Is it divided by? As we zoom in, the zoom level gets larger. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's pretty good. Sweet, and then we can go here. This works as well. It's not really locked the way I want it to be. Feels like it's not moving. Is it because of the aspect ratio? It's kind of fixed vertically, but horizontally it's wrong. Yeah, so the pan is supposed to be aspect ratio aware, I guess. Which I wonder if we can kind of get away with just switching the order of operations here. But I think it would be good to know. I wonder if that's important. I wonder. Like, what if we just do this? Which way we're doing this? We do it this way. So we just do aspect ratio first, and then kind of everything else kind of might fall into place. So maybe, I don't know. Something like mathematically doesn't really necessarily feel right there, but it's doing the right thing. Like I think that sorry, I should say this backwards. Mathematically, this is doing the right thing, but I'm not really convinced that the application shouldn't be aspect ratio aware here. There's something that feels fishy to me. But I think I'll just put a note there and tackle that later. So we'll say like, seems weird that window to clip space conversion isn't aspect aware. Just kind of feels kind of strange. Feels kind of strange. But viewport zoom and pan looking pretty good. I guess we should double check that. I'm not really sure if the path. I wonder if the path thing is broken as shit here. Like, yeah, so here, I bet now that the masked object, this path needs to be relative to the zoom level as well. That's what we need to do. We need to kind of like modify everything path related needs to take the current viewport into account. Yeah. So we need to fix that. Is this just messing around, or is it truly supposed to become a replacement for the learning disability in software format is GIF. Okay. We don't have to get so mean. We don't have to get crazy. But yeah, I would like to... I think that I'm trying to actually replace GIMP usage for myself. Yeah. So I think that this comes back to the coordinate conversion shit. I'm not entirely sure here, but let's try to figure it out. So we'll say that this is a path generation with above fixes. Because I would suspect here that if I go like from the corner of the corner to the image, okay, yeah, let's fix, let's just fix anything. It's like just fucked right now. So we have this like path object, and he has positions, and his positions are in object coordinate space, right? So 1.0 full width, 1.0 full height. So the only thing that we need to fix here is probably the like conversion of pixel space to object space. And where is that done? Move point. Selected point. So probably on whoever is selecting points and moving these points needs to do so in the correct coordinate system. And right now they're doing it in clip space. Window to clip. This kind of feels wrong, to be honest. This is not going to clip space anymore. Well, I guess it is. Clip space is like the 0 to 1 viewport. But we need to convert this to like object space. Feels reasonable. So first of all, actually, can we check what's going on in like the composition view as well? Like this could also just be like uber busted. We should look at both of these. So in the composition view, yeah, so things are moving way more than I am moving them. Right? Like they're moving more. So we need to correct this. So I think that it's literally just like maybe we want to go window to viewport. To object. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So this is going from like, this is giving me -1 to 1 in window. So our mouse position in window space also kind of seems reasonable. Okay. So that means that here, when we move object, we just need to convert it relative to the viewport. Sure. So this gets like multiplied by the zoom level. Or divided. Does that kind of fix the movement over there? Yeah, that feels better, right? So we kind of the selection of objects is fucked up. We're clearly not picking the right one. Right? Like, why is this object being picked? Yeah, so like something's wrong here where I think it's still using the like on select object selection. The selected object is using the coordinate in window space, but searching in the object space. Right. And I guess our movements should be in object space. So I think we want to go like window to object somewhere. We have like pixel to object, and this is like within a texture. So I guess that's kind of fine. This is used in mask generation, which I guess is fine. Yeah. So object coordinates. So if our path is defined in object coordinates and we're trying to convert those into pixel coordinates for a mask, that stays the same way, the same thing it is right now. It's just in the app we need to do some sort of like clip to object space transition. Clip to object. So we'll call this like val, and we want like zoom and center offs. Right? So we're going to be like, so if we are like looking, we do center first. So if our viewport is offset so that the center is at -1, -1, then our center is at -1, -1. So we add the value, and then if we are doing like a distance, the distance needs to be divided by the zoom level. And what if, okay, so if we have like, we're really zoomed in, right? We're like kind of like the whole viewport's like here. So this is going to be like -1 and 1. So if we click here, this needs to become like a small number. So yeah, we divide by the zoom. And this is going to be relative to the center of the viewport no matter what. So we take the viewport position and we add zoom times val, I think. That's like the position in object coordinates. Okay? And probably that means that our movement has to be done completely in object coordinates, I think. So we go like offs obj coords is going to be the new pause 0 minus self mouse pause 0 ugh, I don't know, man. Clip to offset, so this has a zoom level and self dot viewport center 0 1 1 1, I don't know. And then we move object with like just literally like offs obj coords. Does that feel right? No. And then like the selection has to be an offset, so this is wrong. Did we get something wrong here? So here our offset is going to be 0 if we're in the center of the image, right? So let's just start there. It's the other way. Other way. Okay. We still have aspect ratio to deal with. So I guess we have to, I'm just going to say fix me aspect here because I'm not really 100% sure. But now when we pick a selected object here, we need to go clip to object here. Maybe we should take in vectors here. That might be easier. So this is kind of the same thing, but now it's vec2 here. Okay, so clip to object now is just clip to object. New pause minus self mouse, pause, self zoom level, self viewport center. And then select closest object here. We literally just do like clip to object of this thing, self zoom level, self viewport center. Move object. What's he pissed about? I guess this thing is return back to. True. True. Okay. Still not. Oh, wow. What the fuck? That's wrong. It's as soon as I pan. It's as soon as I pan. Oh, because I think that I wanted to do here. I wanted to do clip to object. I wanted to do individual conversion. I think. Okay. Now it's not selecting the correct one, but we didn't fix that. We did. Theoretically. Let's look at clip to object again. So we have some mouse position, right? Mouse position is like -1, -1. So like way in the top left corner. Our offset is set the top left corner to be the center. Okay. So we go, let's look at the center. Plus the offset from the center in clip space. So that feels kind of right to me. So why is this wrong then? Why is it wrong? Can I make it pick her anywhere? So is it like still picking her? Okay. Still picking her? No. I cannot get it to pick her no matter what here. So maybe I have the offset backwards? Or it's not, it's supposed to be applied before or after the zoom. Why is this wrong? In my mind, this value is -1 to 1 in the window. 1 is max right, -1 is max left, right? So our object coordinates for that thing are always going to start at the viewport center, right? So if the viewport center is equal to, 0.5, then we want to be at 0.5 plus the offset from the center. So this feels right to me, but clearly it's not, right? So can we like here just write down the position that we're getting? Because clearly something is not working the way I expect it to, right? That's pretty clear. I just do not understand why. So here I'm getting like almost 1.0. Here I'm getting almost 1.0, right? So now let's kind of scroll over here and click here. -1.0 here. And then over here, am I getting 1.0? Yes. it looks like it, kind of like unconditionally. So it's just that the viewport is backwards than what I thought. So this is viewport offset. No, that's confusing. So viewport center is backwards from what I want it to be. So we just have to fix that. We put a minus here. Then the renderer is going to get it wrong. So we put a negatives here and here. And then does it kind of work the way I expect? Yeah, that feels right to me now. Nice. Nice. All right. Yeah, that feels good. Right? Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. So now we have to get back to path generation. So this is actually going to be a composite movement fixes. And now I guess we're at path generation again. Okay, so now we have this concept of like clip to object. So when we render this thing, we should start at the renderer, I think. Somewhere we're going to like render this path. And this path just needs to take in the transform, right? That's kind of the big thing here. So he needs a transform that is applied to this thing. Okay, so we can just kind of like throw this here, I think. And then our path vertex shader just has to support applying this transform. It's just like he has no choice. Like, fuck that shit, right? Okay. Okay. And now that means that he needs to keep track of the transform location. Does that mean my vertex shader is the same now? I guess we do need to do this. It's close, except we don't have an output UV anymore. So we do, it still, I think, is reasonable for these things to be separated. I think. So, but now we just have to do like the same shit as we do in the other program. Plane render program. Where we keep track of the transform location. So here we have transform location here. Then transform location is extracted with this. And then transform location, it must be saved over here somewhere. And then when we render, we just have to use that thing. Like this. Boom. I don't know. Fuck it. Whoever renders this thing is mad because he doesn't pass in the transform, which we put as the second argument, I think. Okay, so let's start now with, without any zoom, we create a path and we kind of like edit this thing, right? We know it's going to be wrong, but can we at least see if when we zoom in and pan around? So now it's staying in the fixed spot here. Now, if we look at the mask, that actually is surprisingly doing what I thought it would. But the movement of this thing is not working right. So it's more like when we try to select the path, we have to work in object coordinates again. In the same thing, the same way that we did on the composited view. So where's that? It's got to be on like mouse down. So on here, we probably need to work on clip to object here. And I think that it's very likely that we're going to want a strong type everywhere, right? So let's put a fix me on here and have like object chord strong type, right? I think that that will make everything clearer and it will force us to do the correct conversions. But for now, let's just kind of fix it as we fix it. So we also have on mouse selection, we need clip to object here. And here. And then it must be on mouse movement as well. We must have some sort of thing we have to do here. So that's going to be obj offset. Obj offs, obj chords. Surely it's the same here. Surely. Okay, so now we go, give me a new path here. Let's edit it and we will kind of, that feels pretty good. And now can we start like, we need to, the aspect ratio thing is going to get really fucking annoying really fast here, huh? Like, yeah, we have to fix that. We have to fix it. So that's just going to be in like object coordinate conversion here, I think. So can we just be like aspect here? And how is this applied? So aspect really big, really stretchy, unstretchy, divide. Okay. And then we need like the object aspect here, question mark. What is the aspect ratio that we're even working with here? We're looking, clip space is in -1 to 1. So we almost need like our aspect over the window aspect. So let's think about that. Window aspect really fat. Object aspect also really fat, 1.0. Object aspect really small. We need it to be, if the window was square, we just have our aspect ratio. As the window gets fatter, we need our aspect ratio to seem even smaller. So we divide by the window aspect. So can we call this like a obj aspect here? And then window aspect here? Where's our like calc aspect right now? It's in the renderer. Which is a little annoying. I guess we can kind of put this stuff in linear algebra. Yeah, I think that if you add Zig into your stream tag somewhere, the Zig Discord channel automatically posts your stream here. I think I have it in there. Zig is in like the tags of like things that I do on my stream. It says English programming, coding, NeoVim, Linux, Zig. But maybe you mean somewhere else, like in the title or something. It could also be that I just have to go into the Zig channel and post it, and I just don't do that because I'm like fucking lazy. Whatever. We'll just duplicate this for now because I don't really know where I want to put it. Fix me duped in renderer to Zig. So this is going to be, what did we say? Object aspect out over window aspect. I'm pretty sure that's what we said. Which means that we need like selected object is like we get that from objects get self-selected object Then we get the dims is equal to selected object dims. Something like this. Or else return error no dims. Okay, and I think we should also like put a fix me on here. Remove optional for now. We'll come back to that. What do you prefer to learn? C++, Rust, and a lot of kernel working in C for a while. I don't really know what you're asking. If you're asking which language I like better, I like Rust better. If you're asking which language is likely to get you a job, I don't know. If you're asking if you want to do kernel development, which one should you learn? The answer is neither. You should learn C. I don't really know what you're asking. I think that like learning Rust at some point also will kind of change the way you write code, which is good. Like in a way for the better. Even if I don't use Rust now, I think that like it impacted me in a way where I'm better at writing thread safe code than I was before. Yeah, I don't know. I would only like I hate working in C++. Well, I don't hate it. It's like okay, right? Like in reality, programming languages like do they fucking matter? No, right? But like well, they matter to the extent of like how low level are they, what level of control do they give you, whatever, right? But like, does the difference between C++ and Rust really matter? No. But do I like writing Rust better than I like writing C++? Yes. Right? Jobs will be in both, and I don't think that you should limit yourself based off programming language at all. I'm saying I've been writing kernel development for a while. I've wrote some of the enterprise driver in C, planning to move to C++ or Rust. I mean, I would do neither then. If you're in the kernel, you should fucking follow the kernel. Unless you're saying you're writing your own kernel, in which case do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm really helping. Okay. We have self window width and self window height. We have the object aspect is the aspect of dims 0, dims 1. Can we fix this kind of in one place first? I want to do it on mouse movement first. This is going to be the easiest to tell if it's right. So clip to object here is going to take in the object aspect, window aspect here, and here. Okay, and then everywhere else that uses clip to object, can we just like write like 1.0, 1.0? Just temporarily. Okay. Let's see if that's right. Fuck! Aspect is this, and then const aspect v is going to be vec2 of aspect and aspect, and then we divide by aspect v. Aspect v, like this. What's he pissed off about? This. All right. How's that looking? Okay, so if we now go into our path editor. Okay, that's backwards, I think. I guess we only want to multiply one of these things by the aspect. Yeah, that's what's happening, right? Is it the renderer? We are defining this based off this, which kind of feels like there's like some sort of duplication there. This is like kind of duplicated with renderer code. Like our viz depends our like it seems like we should own app should own viewport transform. Probably. That's probably where this should go, right? The app says, hey, this is the transform you get to go from your your object coordinates to where they should be displayed in the window, and then everything else kind of comes for free. But we're not doing that right now. So because of that, we have to cheat. So this is x, y. So here we get, we'll do this. For now, we have if window, what is this? This outer aspect was in window aspect here. And inner aspect is object aspect here. Then here, this is x, y. Aspect 1.0. Else it's 1.0. 1.0. And here they flip it, is what we did here. So before we did object over window. And then here it's like window over object. I don't know, man. And then this is a scale, so this is supposed to be a multiplier now, I guess. Not a divisor. I guess. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Okay. Wrong. Okay, and then if I do this, horizontally it's working. Here, vertically it's working. So I think I just have this. Either this is supposed to be multiplied, divided still, or I have the like axes inverted. God damn it. Everything is hard. Guess and test, baby. Okay, that's right, that's right. That's right, that's right. And then if we make it so that their black borders are on the other side by making this thing really narrow, that's all still correct. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got there. We got there. Okay, so that means that, like, I think now we can probably construct a reasonable path to cut out Miss Cersei Lannister, right? Because now we can kind of go in here and we can like actually see what we're doing. Ah, fuck. Object selection. We didn't fix everywhere else. Fuck! So I think what we should do here is maybe change clip to object. To a thing that takes in app. That might be simpler. And then zoom is free. Offset is free, right? See, off becomes self, window, viewport, center. Zoom becomes self zoom level. Window aspect also gets passed in for free. Right, we have like window, calc aspect of self window width, self window height. Okay, so all of that comes in for free now, and then we just have the value and the object aspect. And is this always used for like mouse coordinates? The vast majority of the time, but not always. Okay. And then the object aspect, I would like to kind of calculate here manually with object ID. So now we can do like self objects get object ID like this. Then we can say that the object dims it's object dims self objects, or else panic no dims. This should never fucking happen. We're gonna fix that later. Object aspect is the calculated aspect of object dims 0 and object dims 1. Okay. Then everything else And then we'll just like fix me like, ew, this function is nasty. But whatever, we'll get to it later. Okay, so now this is just self-clipped object with. I wonder if the selected object is always if like the object that we're looking at is always selected object. Kind of feels like it is. So then it's literally just like self clip to object self mouse pause. Yeah. Feels good, man. Okay. Okay. Yup. I guess I shouldn't say KKK. That's bad. I didn't mean to. I take it back. I was not serious. I was trying to say okay, but like abbreviated, and then that sounds really bad. I should stop talking. I'll stop talking. I don't have to talk. 285 is mad because this needs ampersand here for a pointer. And let's see if this is a little bit better. Okay. So now, does everything work? So if we want to like, oh, that's not good. That's not good. Select closest point is still not doing what I want. So why not? Clip to object. Clip to object. Looking at self mouse pause, we have this. I don't know why the fuck this says fix me aspect. Okay, I'll delete that because it means absolutely nothing to me. Fix me kind of duplicated. Okay, but then like, so what I'm a little confused about is if the dragging of this stuff works, how come the calculate, like the raw selection is not? So if I remember we tested very heavily with this, right? And this is using the same code. Right? I guess it could be that the aspect ratio here is relevant in some way. So can we create a path here? Does it work? If I am in like okay, let's put these things close together. So this does not work here, but what if I do it this way so that it's kind of clamping in the other direction? This is okay. It's as soon as we get wide here. Actually, this seems to be working as well. Oh, here. What's going on here? Yeah, like this is wrong. This is strange. Yeah, what's happening here? And let's just make sure again that I cannot reproduce that if I make it like a narrow. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. If window aspect is greater than, I wonder if, I suspect that this was fine, but let's just flip it just in case. I don't think that that's right, but we can try it. Yeah, that's fucked. That's fucked. This is way better. Way better, right? Right, way better. So if I'm like towards the center, is it okay? Yeah, and then if I bring these like up to the top left, does it kind of behave differently over here? Okay, so if it's in the top left, and we zoom in a lot, it's weighted towards the thing on the top, right? We literally can't get the thing on the bottom. And then does it kind of like behave the other way down here, where like it only selects the thing on the bottom? Yes. But again, like the distances are fine. So it's literally just like absolute positioning of these things is not right. Which means what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess we should just fucking write down on select closest point what the object space is here. That was very successful last time. It could be, I wonder if like the F32 resolution is a problem. Could be. So let's kind of like bring these guys down into the corner where it's a problem, right? Because like it's interesting that it works here. Oh, I guess maybe it's not. Okay, click here. We're at negative 0.99. And object space, oh, object space X coordinate doesn't seem right. Right? Like here, there should be -1 on both, and it's not. Okay, so which case are we in? What if we do it the other way? -0.1. Okay. Interesting. So, dude, I hate how hard this is. I hate it. The aspect ratio stuff must be right. What's my like viewport center? Is it true that this has to be right? Okay, so we are in the case where our aspect ratio of the window is significantly higher than the aspect ratio of the object. Okay. When I click over here, this is right, actually, here, down here. This is all correct. What about when I move the viewport? When I move the viewport, the X position seems to be wrong more. So it means that like the aspect ratio adjustment needs to happen somewhere else. It's very confusing. I guess maybe, yeah. I wonder if it's like this. Where the viewport, because maybe like the center offset needs to also have the aspect ratio applied. That could be it. Let's just kind of see how that feels. So we'll go back here and we'll create a path and we'll click here and we will just kind of click here. That's -1, -1, and we kind of move over here. This is 1, 1. Yeah, that feels better. -1, -1, or -1, 1, -1, -1. Kind of like unconditionally -1, -1. Yeah, okay. I guess that makes sense. Cool. Okay, let's see if we can outline Slurpee Bannister now. Okay, so let's try to like cut her out. All right, let's just kind of see what happens. Okay. Okay, like this. Maybe we kind of... Oh, this is so much better already. Like, the ability to zoom in is mega big for us. Mega big for us. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. This can kind of come down here. Can we save? I hope that we didn't break save at any point, because that would be very sad if we went through all this effort and it didn't even work. Like, we couldn't even bring it back. Save. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I like that it's so over sharpened, or the lighting is so like extreme that it's really easy to tell with so little information where the edges are. You know, it's kind of nice. Kind of nice. Bump. All right, where are we at? Jeez. Oh, baby, look at that. Look at that. That's awesome. It's actually like kind of like fucking functional. All right, let's just kind of whoop. Whoop. That's the chair. Maybe like this. Maybe this comes kind of like, I can't really tell where the chair ends and her skirt begins. I guess it's kind of like more to the right here. It's kind of like the black stuff. Right? Yeah, something like this. This needs, that's part of the chair. Something like that. Something like that. Oh, yeah. Okay, which one of these, like, fucking... Here we go. You're telling me that that's not a fucking... Look at her. She's ready to fucking sit on a banister. This is probably part of the chair, huh? So we probably should have cut that out. But that's, yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't start falling over, like, performance-wise. But yeah, let's save this, and then let's close it and just try to load save.json and just make sure, yeah, we're still chilling. Look at that! Look at that! Okay, so that's 410. I think that we've actually made, like, a large amount of improvements on usability here, right? We kind of got to the point now where there's no fucking way that we could have outlined something correctly. We've got like viewport transforms now. Obviously that this needs to get fixed up so that when we switch these, we're not kind of like stuck. But yeah, we also have this like background checkerboard now. That's new. Yeah, if we didn't need to do any rotation or scaling, we could technically do this. Right, just throw all of the stuff that we don't want into the corner. And we could kind of, and assuming that everything was the right size when we brought it in, and they were stacked in the right order. So really this thing is not really usable like at fucking all. But we've gotten a lot closer. I think the next thing we need is Z sorting, rotation and scale. And then I think after that we could maybe argue that this is like usable in some way, probably like image export as well. Oh yeah, it's pretty sick. Pretty sick. All right, we're gonna call it there because it's been 2 hours and we've made good progress. So thank you guys for watching. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing a 2 to 4 segment, which we call the mainstream. And then we have like the 12:30 to 2 section, which we call happy hour, which is essentially, if we committed what we did today, future us would be like, you suck. And anybody who looked at our GitHub would be like, you suck. Right? So, there's other work that I have to do that is not worth, like, it doesn't like fit into the narrative of a YouTube video, but it's still kind of like, I would argue, like fun to watch. So kind of like more refactory, unit testy, kind of like researchy, hangout type vibes is in the happy hour segment. That's the 12:30 to 2, which you either have to catch live or see archived on Patreon or YouTube member streams. But you can follow the project along just fine if you are watching only the VODs on YouTube. that are free, which is great as well. So thank you. We'll be back tomorrow. I guess we will just keep banging through this list, try to get like object rotation, Z sorting, composition editing, all of that stuff. We'll keep going. Code for this should end up on GitHub soon-ish. Probably after tomorrow's happy hour, we'll have something that's like kind of committable. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around YouTube. Peace out, and Twitch. Let's find someone to raid.